Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. This video, in comparison to a couple of the last ones I've done which have turned out to be quite long, this should be a fairly short and sweet video. What I want to do is really just share with you just a couple of quick things that I've sort of, not exactly, well, kind of discovered, but really just started using in my game in the last few days and have had immediate results. So I thought I'd just take a break from some of the longer tactical videos and just give this to you right now while it's kind of fresh in my mind what's going on. Just to set the scene, to explain it, it's what I'm going to just mention is just a couple of things in terms of positioning myself for return of serve and recovery after returning serve. There's a couple of things I've learnt that I've just started using and finding them very, very helpful. The reason why I got onto this was that I was playing a couple of my local pennant matches. I was not having a great night and I was struggling a lot with my return of serve. In particular, I was playing a couple of right-handers with some very good serves, and they were curling it in that forehand pendulum into my backhand here. So sort of coming across and with the side spin, back spin that you normally get into my backhand. Now, where I position myself is usually so that anything up to about a third of this backhand side, I want to play a backhand. That's what I've been always sort of done. And they were playing it in there, but they were curling it and managing to kick it and get some kick on the ball. And consequently, I was struggling a lot and I was missing a lot of my returns, both of their short ones and their long ones. Just mistiming and not doing a very good job. So I was not very happy with my return of serve. And I thought about it a little bit more and I thought, well, you know, really, for me, over the whole time that I've played, returning that serve, that backspin, side spin, or backspin, top spin serve to my backhand side has always been something that I've found kind of difficult. I've always struggled with it a little bit. The long pips sometimes can help, but not always. Sometimes against a good server it really doesn't seem to help either. So I thought to myself, okay, look, I'm not happy with this. And these two guys who had good serves and a reasonable game, but basically really good serves, made me struggle a lot. So I thought to myself, okay, let's try and do something about this. So rather than just kind of, like with my serving, when I thought about it a lot, tried this, tried that, I thought, well, in this case I'll be a little bit smarter. And I'll go and I'll look at some of my old videos and I'll go and take a look at Waldner, at Jan-Ove Waldner. And I'll see how does he return serve. I mean, he's got a pretty good return of serve. I'll take a look at him and I'll take a look at Jorgen Persson and just see how these guys are handling the return of serve. You know. And the first thing I noticed when I was watching Waldner, and I'll give you a little excerpt from the video that I was watching, just to show you what I'm on about. But the first thing I noticed is that, okay, well, Waldner's standing much more to his left than I do, and he takes virtually every one of those pendulum serves that are coming to his backhand. He takes almost every single one on his forehand side. And I looked at that and I went, well, okay, now, you know, Waldner's got a pretty good backhand. You know, not a bad backhand. I would think probably even a decent backhand return of serve. So why is he actually putting himself out of position all the way over here to even play a forehand return of serve? And I guess it comes down to the fact that by doing that, he reduces the amount of serve returns he needs. It's always more or less a forehand. So he needs to do less strokes, you know, just needs a forehand. And he knows in advance what stroke he's going to do. It's always going to be the forehand, push, flick, push, flick. Looking also on his return of serve, he pushes a lot more than I'm trying to push. I'm trying to flick. Now, having said that, I'm quite often trying to flick with the backhand side, either with the pips or with the twiddle. So I'm trying to flick a lot, whereas he's actually pushing a lot. You know? And also, to be fair, he doesn't get a lot of long serves into that backhand side. But when they do come along, because he's over there, he's looping with the forehand, and the spin's coming at him rather than going away from the wrist and the angle. So it's a lot easier for him to handle the long serve than it is for me. So I thought, okay, well I can do that. I can try standing further over, waiting further over, and as the ball comes through, do what he does, which is basically hop over here, play the ball, and come back. So that was one thing that I thought, yes, I'll do that. I'll give that a try. And I'll talk in a second about how that worked out. But the other thing I thought, well, if he does that, or if I try and do that, I'm going to be a long way out of position. How the heck do I get back into position? How do I recover? Because for me, with my feet, typically if I tried that in the past, this would be my footwork. I'd be ready. So when I've tried this kind of Waldner technique in the past, I would stand and wait, and the serve would come, and I would step over, and I would play the ball, and I would step back. But I always felt a little bit out of position and a little bit too close to the table. It always felt very awkward, and I never stuck with it because I never got a very good result. I always felt that on my next stroke, I always felt very uncomfortable. Okay, so it never really lasted. So I wanted to see, what does he do? And what I've never noticed before, even though I've watched these videos of Waldner and top players many, many times, I've never noticed before his actual footwork on the recovery, because he moves his feet a lot differently to how I move my feet. And having looked at that and what he does, I went and looked at some other top players of the world and some of the top Australian players, and they all do pretty much all do a fairly similar thing. So this is the difference, and again, I'll show you the excerpt of what he does so you can see for yourself, but I'll just discuss it here now. He'll be waiting, and the serve will come, and he will step over. Now, what I would normally do is shuffle, step back, shuffle, step over, shuffle, step back. He doesn't do that. What he does is he comes over, but instead of shuffle back into position, he hops back, and the left foot takes a hop. So it's actually from here, in, play the ball, hop, hop. And he ends up further back and ends up more, he's got more depth. And whatever direction he wants to go, he can end up further in that direction. And he also ends up nice and wide. So again, where I would be here, in and back, Waldner is in, hop, hop. And it's that extra hop, hop that a lot of the top players use and a lot of the top Australians use. And that was the other thing I thought, okay, well, I'll try that. So I'll use the two of them together and I'll see how it goes. And I actually found it quite effective. It's actually very, very useful against that forehand pendulum coming in. And so really what I was doing is waiting much further over, serve coming in, over, hop back, in, hop back. If they serve to the forehand side, you just step and hit. No real problem. If they serve a backhand serve, so they're not coming from that, you wait a little bit more. If it's a left-hander, we've got a couple of left-handers. You wait a little bit more here, but you still mainly give it the forehand and just hop back, in, hop back. And so it's handled more or less, similarly. But what I've found is by doing this technique is that, firstly, instead of me being caught here, always feeling a little bit close and never feeling like I've recovered back enough to cover the table. Now I'm back, and if I want to return down the line, before I'd struggle to get over. Now, because I'm hopping, I'm covering extra distance. It's easier to recover. And I'm finding this, I've only used it for, say, about 3 different kind of matches and playthings, so I'm finding it immediately effective. I'm a little bit further back, I'm recovering further in that direction, and I'm much more comfortable playing my follow-up. The other immediate benefit is that, so that's just in terms of my depth and recovery. I'm a better position, better balanced to handle the next stroke. But in terms of my return of serve, it's so much easier because the ball, instead of where here I was always trying to fight the angle and then still make the contact without getting it on my fingers as the ball curves, now I'm working with the curve, always with the serve, and I can put it straight back to the opponent, or I can come down the line, I can flick very easily. It works in with that serve. That pendulum serve makes it so easy now to flick when I want to flick, whereas on the backhand it was so tough. And I really only have, now I only need kind of in, push, in, flick, and back, or you come across and it's long, and now the nice thing is if it is long and I'm in short, I can let the ball come further to still loop, or if I've got time to get back, I can get back. But the point is, I've got, on the forehand, I've got room to take the ball later if I need to. On the backhand side coming at me, if I needed to take the ball later, I'd have to jump back. Whereas on the forehand, all I have to do is just wait a little bit and I've got room. On the backhand side, if I want to wait a little bit, it hits me. You have to get further, you have to move back. So it's more forgiving, I've got more room for error. So if the server serves it long and I thought it was short but it's really long, easy for me to change. So, and I'm finding my return of serves improved. And I'm playing better points with it because my return of serves now is simpler. And I'm finding that quite effective. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying to you all, hey, go out and suddenly start doing this. Because not all of you are going to want to cover everything with your forehand. Some of you would rather play with the backhand. But for those of you who are finding that you're getting caught a little bit on this backhand side by people, this is a good technique of covering this. And when you combine it with the hop step, you'll recover quite easily into position without making it too hard. So it's a good extra technique. And even just on normal serves, even if you're not going to do that, if you're just going to wait here, that thinking of in and then to get back rather than just shuffle back, but to actually hop back when you've stepped in for the ball, there, or if you step in with this side, you don't normally sort of hop back with that. You can come back. But there, it seems quite easy to do. So it's just a technique I think that you can incorporate in. As I said, I've used this now for about on three different playing occasions since I first decided to try it. And immediately I'm playing better doing it that way. My return serve is better. A good example is playing yesterday. I played my training partner Colin, who has very good serves, especially always catches me here on my long pips, catching me there, making me struggle, pop the ball a lot. I find it very hard to get in the top spin at all, so I always tend to push, and he just ties me up with it, and I miss a lot, even with the long pips. Whereas now all I did was stand further over, he served his serve, I came over, I could push it in any direction, I could flick it anywhere I wanted, and I just hopped back into position. And when he went with his long pips down the line, I just hop there and tee off. And it worked very, very well for me. So I'm pleased with this technique, which is why I just thought I'd mention it right now. As I said, I will include a little bit of video just at the end, and you'll be able to see Walden doing the same thing, as only Walden can do it. But it's something to watch some of the other pros in the thing, and you'll see Wangler Quinn doing it, you'll see the top players will do it. I know our top Australians guys do it. How did I never know about it? Well, it's one of those things. I was never taught, no one ever taught me to do it. I've never been looking for it. As a defender most of the time, I never really wanted to step over. I always wanted to play it with the backhand because I thought, oh, I'm too heavy, it's too slow, I'll be too slow to get back. So I kind of discounted the possibility that I could do this. So I've never looked really hard at their footwork and how they moved. But once I decided that, yeah, I'm going to try this, and then said, okay, how do they move? It was suddenly obvious. You know, it was apparent that this is how they move in, take the ball, hop back. You know, I'd never noticed it. So it goes to show, 25 years of table tennis, never picked it up, never used it myself, ever. And it goes to show that, even though I'm carrying extra weight, I can play that and I can recover, even though I'm carrying extra weight that I didn't think I could do. And within 3 days, I'm effectively using this and playing better with it. Which is how good table tennis are. When you improve something, when you fix something in your game, hopefully, it should get better, things should get better. So I'll leave you with a little video of the clip of Waldner making his movement, and you can just compare and see what's going on. So